Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Raw Exchange.
So as soon as I open my mouth up, I gotta be on point. I can't afford to make a mistake. You gotta sacrifice something to get what you want sometimes. And I think ranking up is kind of just a matter of personal determination.
I have a soldier with me today, and I can't wait for y'all to hear from him.
Good evening. I'm Staff Sergeant Quinton of the Michigan Army National Guard. Right now I'm a recruiter, born and raised here in Detroit, Michigan. Initially I enlisted as a 42 Alpha Human Resources Specialist.
Being black as a female, you gotta give 150% regardless. 100% is not enough. If you don't 100%, that's the bare minimum.
You're being prejudged. Like you gotta prove yourself, and then we can get to business. And I became an NCO when I was 19 years old. So
hold on. So far, how many battle boos have you had your whole military career? Okay, so we're just gonna jump right into it. So, what is your go-to answer when people ask you, why should I join the Army?
I always tell people you should join the Army to improve yourself. Like I would say here in America, it's the best way to, get upward mobility, whether it's getting a degree, getting, trades or certifications,
right,
or just, getting a good springboard and foundation for your life. So I think the Army can do a lot for most people.
I think that's a good answer because the Army does have a lot to offer. So I like that answer.
Sure.
That's a really good answer. What's your favorite cadence?
My favorite cadence, it's a cadence. It's called like, oh my goodness, it's like, oh soldier, and it's like combat soldier, and then it's like,
I think I heard of it.
Where have you been? And then it goes through like all like the different wars. Like I've been to Iraq, I've been to Vietnam, and it's just like it's kind of like a history of like the Army and like a cadence kind of thing.
You like that?
Yeah.
Hey, you be singing cadences?
Nah, not for real. Not no more. I used to love it, but like you get so far in.
You like I ain't even on that no more. Okay.
You get so far in, it's like
the older you get, the longer you in, you don't care about the cadence no more.
Yeah.
I guess. Do you do running cadences?
Not for real, no.
I hate them.
Unless like we doing PT or something like that, and I might volunteer.
They should get rid
I
of them.
got a decent voice.
Okay.
Somewhat.
They need to get rid of them because I've got a breath. Like we trying to run, and you trying to make me sing. This ain't gonna work.
It help motivate you.
I guess. What's your least favorite thing about the military?
My least favorite thing about the military is that there's a lot of people that can be out of touch. I feel like the military, it doesn't run unless the people put in work. And like if you don't know people, then you're not gonna be able to accomplish your mission effectively. So I think it's like out of touch people.
So you feel like if you not networking or like if you aren't engaging with other soldiers, you not really serving army?
Not even that. It's just like knowing people. Like a lot of people lack emotional intelligence, and it's not even just the military. This is everywhere. Like I can't stand emotionally unintelligent people. Period. But like in the military, I think it's really important because how am I gonna ask you? Okay, let's go take this hill.
Right.
But I haven't took the time to get to know you or like really care about you or take care of you. So
just assigning me a task.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can get the mission done efficiently when you know the people you're doing the mission with. So I like that. So so far, how many battle boos have you had your whole military career?
It ain't been a lot. Like ever since I joined, I kind of been goal oriented. Like when I first joined the military, I was in a relationship. My girlfriend, she actually joined the military right after I did. My girlfriend at the time. And so then, you went through life, relationships came and went. And so at this point in my career, I'm just focused on the next level, whether that's Sergeant First Class or Warrant Officer 1 or Second Lieutenant Howard, one of them, but that's where I'm at.
I ain't answer that question though. How many? Because you got basic, actually you got RSP.
Right.
Basic, AIT, and then your first unit, because you've been to a few units.
I have.
So exactly, I'm just trying to get a roundabout number.
Right, no, so I was in a relationship up until I went to my second unit.
Okay.
My second unit, I was chilling. Like I connected with maybe one, you know what I'm saying? And after that, I got the recruiting, and it was kind of like all business from there. So it ain't been a lot of battles, maybe 2.
Okay. Do you like military women?
I do like military women, because I don't have to explain a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you dating a civilian, you gotta explain like, okay, well, this is how this go. I can't just do this, you know.
Right.
So military women, they kind of get it. So do I have a preference? Not necessarily, but in certain facets, I like
because you like just in general when you talking to people, they be like, huh?
Right.
Like, now I gotta talk about this. Now I gotta explain what this means. You don't know what PT is. You don't know what the ACT is. Like, nah. So I get what you're saying. So just tell me about your background. Like, you know, where you grew up. Like, you know, what led you to even looking at the military.
Got you. So I grew up on the west side of Detroit. Grew up in a single parent home, raised by my mom. I always yearned for like stability because I came from pretty humble beginnings. I grew up on Joy Road in Wyoming, so like I said, humble beginnings. But I always knew I wanted better for myself. So I went to Cass Tech, graduated in 2019. At the time, I knew I wanted more for myself. I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to, you know, travel. I knew I wanted to, you know, get into a career that made a lot of money. So I looked to the Army National Guard, and they did all that for me. It paid for college. I got to travel. You know, I got to meet people that have kind of, you know, set me up professionally in life, and it's been the best decision I ever made. So,
did you stumble upon a recruiter at your school, or were you like searching for it? Like, how did it cross your path like the first time?
So I did JROTC in high school. I'm pretty sure like anybody who went to CAS.
Explain JROTC because a lot of people don't know what that is. So
JROTC is the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. So every branch got it. So like it's basically a class you take in high school. It usually replaces health or gym, but it has like a military basis to it. So you wear like a uniform once a week. You know, you do drilling ceremonies, so like right face, left face, that type of stuff. And so I did that all 4 years. I took class all 4 years. I got to, you know, experience a lot just from participating in that program. And then I knew I was going to join the military, but I didn't know exactly what. Okay. So one day, Army National Guard recruiter, he came to Cass, and he was like, hey, you know, what's your plans? So I was like, I'm going to go to Wayne State. I'm going to study accounting. I'm going to get this big job. I'm going to make a lot of money. This, that, and the third. So then he was like, okay, well, how you going to pay for it? And then I was like, well, I guess you asking the right questions, right? I guess that's where you come in, my guy. So his name at the time was Staff Sergeant Toaster, so shout out to you, Sergeant Toaster. But he kind of really helped me set that foundation, you know, in the Army National Guard and for life. So
that's how they always pull you in.
No,
y'all always want to pull who you gonna pay for school. No, I'm just playing, but yeah, no, that's awesome. Especially if you already knew, like. He kind of saw that when you said you wanted to go to school. That was his way in, right there. Right there. So, if it wasn't for, I guess, them reaching out to you first, do you think you would have been open to other branches? And, like, what other branches would you have been open to?
Oh, I talked to a few branches because, like, I had took the ASVAB my junior year. So, I had a pretty good score, and, you know, a lot of branches, they was calling me out. I was like, look, this is my demands. Like, I need...
right, you was coming with what you want.
You know what I'm saying? I was trying to call my own shot.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do something related to finance or business.
Right.
And that was mainly it. I ain't gonna lie, that was like my only demand.
Really? But at least you were able to come with that because a lot of people, they don't do their research. And that's what I've learned. Like, I didn't do my research when I joined. Even when I left for basic, I didn't even do no research on what basic was. But I think that that's really good that you knew, like, off rip what you were looking for, and then you just so happened to be able to get it.
Yeah.
So I think that was really good. So my next question is, what was your MEPS experience, and how long did it take you to ship out after signing your contract?
So my MEPS experience was, I would say, probably the easiest experience ever. Like, my recruiter, he sent my paperwork off. He was like, okay, this your date for MEPS. And so I went to MEPS, you know, did my medical. I was like about business, so I wasn't worried about nothing, you know, drawing blood or anything like that. So I went through my medical stuff, signed my contract same day, and that was August 15th, 2018. The day I made the best decision of my life.
But, that's awesome.
At the time, I was about to be a senior at Cass, so I still had to complete, you know, my senior year in high school. So I didn't ship off until June 18th, 2019. Okay. So I was in the recruit sustainment program, so basically like pre-basic training until I graduated, so about 9 months.
Okay, so why didn't you do like, I don't know what they call it, when you leave or you do a summer and basic, come back home and then go do AIT after? Why didn't you do that?
Got you. So that's the split option training program. So basically, I had joined too late. Like I had joined too late in the summer. If I had joined like as soon as I turned 17, which was May, 3 months before, then I probably could have squeezed in and got like one of them last few spots for the summer. But me and my mom, we was kind of at a crossroads. So my mom, she didn't really want me to join. Like my mom, so kind of give some backstory. My mom, she had a friend who had served in the military, but he was like combat infantry, so he was on the front lines in Iraq and Afghanistan. Funny enough, he kind of the one who kind of put that military seed in my mind, like maybe this is something I can do when I grow up. But she, you know, her seeing, you know, his condition when he came back, she was like, I don't want that for you. And so we was kind of like just at odds for like 3 months. And then finally I was like, look, Mom, we ain't got the money to pay for me to go to school. I'm gonna do this with or without you. So, you know, it's best we do it now so I can at least start making money and we know what's gonna be after I graduate. So.
Right. So were you 18 at the time when you signed? Like
no,
you signed your
17.
contract?
I was 17.
And she just was like, I'm just going.
Yeah, because she had to sign off.
Yeah,
she didn't sign off till August. So.
Right. And I kind of also want to go back a little bit. Explain what MEPS is, because a lot of people don't know, like I said, so like the process and everything. So just explain like what MEPS is and like what that looks like.
Got you. So MEPS stands for Military Entrance Processing Station. So basically you go there to take your ASVAB, which is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
I know that's right. Know all them acronyms. Yeah, I know that's right.
My job. But yeah, that's the test you take to get into the military. So you go to MEPS for that. You go to MEPS for your physical, your medical exam. So they pretty much, you know, check your eyes, your hearing, your heart, make sure that you're physically fit to join the military. And typically it takes about 2 to 3 visits to get into the military. For some it might be a little bit more, but I would say
my experience 2 to 3 visits.
Right. On average, I would say it's about 3, roughly.
3.
You know, you go there, take your test. You go there, do your medical exam. Sometimes, probably like 50% of the time, people join right after they do their medical exam. But sometimes they might have something that they need to address medically, and then they can come back and swear in and list. So,
as a recruiter, how many times what's the most like a soldier has ever went to MEPS and actually made it through?
So I got this guy, he had to take the test, I want to say 4 times. And his 4th time, he finally got it. And then, you know, he had to do his medical and then came back to the list. So he had that up. That's 6 times. So that's probably the most I've had.
No, they wrong.
Hey, I mean,
they wrong.
I mean, he had to.
But
he had to pass his test. But I admire him for that determination.
Right.
A lot of people they would have quit after the 2nd time.
Yeah.
So I really admire him for that.
Nah, that's dope for sure. Because MEPS is no joke. Like, especially in the beginning, like, you know, when you first wake up, you gotta wake up early and then they give you this bold breakfast and then you get on this bus and so I think that was like the first start to I'm like, oh, this is what the military is gonna be like. Like, okay. My next question is why didn't you go active? Like, what made you go National Guard as opposed to just going through and just like living it 24/7?
So I wanted to attend college. So college was my main priority when I joined, whether that was going to the United States Military Academy, being a cadet, or doing ROTC at like Wayne State or whatever the case may be. But getting a college degree was my main priority. You know, on active duty, I could have done that, but at that point, I'm at the mercy of the Army. You know, 24/7. So I said, hey, I'm gonna do my, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer, and go to school the rest of the time. So and it worked out. It was 2 days a month. I put this uniform on, go up on Grand River, do my 2 days a month, and then the rest of the month, I'm at Wayne State, making money, studying, from basically getting paid to be a college student. So it worked out.
Do you wish that you would have looked into more of the like reserves options or active duty? Like, you wish if you could go back, would you still go National Guard?
I would do this 3 lifetimes over. I made the right decision because just the way my life played out, the National Guard fit every twist and turn of my life went. Like, active duty is you active until that 4 years or 3 years is up. Army Reserve, I mean, that's cool. Army Reserve is cool, and just for anybody think like, oh, that's the same thing. And Army Reserve, they're like a federal component. Right. They're like a federal reserve, whereas the National Guard, we're a state and federal reserve because we got to be ready for state emergencies and disasters and protests and stuff like that. Plus, we got to be ready to deploy, go overseas, just in case. So, the Army Reserve, like, they was there, but, like, the National Guard provided more support since it's a state and federal entity.
Thank you for that, because people don't know that either. Like, that's the question I always get, like, are you reserves or active? Like, they don't know that National Guard is another component. So thanks for that. But what was basic and AIT like for you? Like, and where did you go?
So I attended basic combat training and advanced individual training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, since that's where the human resources, the Army Human Resources School is at.
Right.
So my experience was, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I was just about business. Plus, like I did JROTC in high school, so I kind of already knew, you know, like the first 3 weeks of instruction. So it was like, you know, I was pretty physically fit when I went, and so it was just like, hey, you know, there's something that got to be done. I'm gonna run this little 2-3 miles. I'm gonna crawl through this little mud. You know what I'm saying? I was like, look, there's something that got to be done, right?
Bro.
What you mean?
You cannot pay me to go back to basic training. I'm not even like, I don't care how much money, like, you cannot pay me to go back to that shit.
I always say basic training is the funnest thing I'll never do again.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of people tell me, like, yeah, I'll do, basic was fun. Who? That shit was not fun.
No, I ain't gonna lie though, like, basic, I used to be beefed out with people. Because coming from Detroit, you know what I'm saying? You got a different mentality, like, you like come from the city, you kind of hard nosed already. You got people coming from Texas, you got people coming from like Montana,
everywhere,
California. And so like a lot of people, they was kind of soft, and it's like, bro, it's business.
You was one of them. What they used to say, tighten up, or you.
It wasn't even that. I was just like, bro, we gotta get through this, and we gotta do these little push-ups. Come on, like, bro, like,
yeah. So was you one of them, like? Did you have a lot of people in your platoon that got y'all fucked, like smoked all the time? Like, did y'all get smoked a lot?
Yeah, we did. Cause like my drill sergeant, like we had 3 drill sergeants. So one of them, it was this dude. He was kind of like towards the end of his career, so like he was kind of chill. But then we had this other dude. He had been to Iraq, Afghanistan. He got like every army badge. He infantry. So he about to, you know,
for sure.
You feel me? So like he about to bring the smoke for sure every day. And then we had this short woman. She from the Army Reserve, so she short Army Reserve. She feel like she got something to prove.
Oh God!
So now she really about to, you know, get on us, and you know. But it was they were professionals through and through. So like
that's good.
Even though they was kind of hard on us, they had us prepared, you know, at the end of the day. So I can appreciate that.
Did they do their like, I don't know what they call it specifically, like, but their smoke sessions when they made y'all drop? When I say drop, I mean push-ups. Did they do them with y'all? Was that something that they practiced when you were in basic? Yeah,
and that's so that was a lot of people, they admire that, which I admired at the time. Too. But my dog that been in Iraq and Afghanistan, dude could do like 200 push-ups in
so like,
so we like 5-10 minutes straight. He's still doing push-ups. I'm like, bro.
Chill the fuck out.
You milking now. Like,
yeah. No. I get what you're saying. So that leads me to my next question. Like, what's the craziest thing that you ever like experienced with the drill sergeant? Whether it's your platoon or somebody else in a different platoon or a different company, because you know how to I forgot what it's called. I've been out of there so long. You know, I don't know.
I get where you're coming from.
But you know how to build and be a bunch of them. Yeah.
The craziest thing. Oh, I'll tell you. So this was in AIT, because in AIT we had drill sergeants by then. So I'm not gonna say her name. I love her to death. She was a professional. She taught me how to be an HR specialist. She really cared about something. Okay. But I remember I was in charge. Like I was what's called the student first sergeant.
Right.
So like I'm responsible for what everybody do or don't do. So like everything came back on me. So like I remember one time this dude, and he when I tell this story, like if he see this, he gonna know I'm talking about him. He left his rifle at the schoolhouse because we had went to class and we had got
y'all had to bring y'all rifles to the schoolhouse?
Yeah, because we was training up for like our field training exercise. So like we gotta bring our rifle to class. We gotta like sit them outside the class in like the little, you know, rifle cases and everything. So we left and he had left his rifle. And so I'm coming back.
Hold on. How you leave your rifle in the schoolhouse? Everybody and their mama walked out the damn schoolhouse with their rifle and you leave yours.
Bro was a little touched.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I get back, you know, and you know, we done dismissed for the day. You know, I'm in my room chilling and, you know, just chopping up with my roommates. It's like, I'm saying it's like 7:30.
You done made it back. Like, duty day over. Wow.
So my drill sergeant called on the intercom. She's like, hey, can the student first sergeant please come down? So I'm like, oh my God. I'm used to that because like they giving out tasks. Right. So I come and see her And she like, hey, you know your buddy, such and such, he left his rifle at the schoolhouse. Did you know that? I was like, no, drill sergeant, I didn't know that. So she was like, well, you should have known that. So we finna go get a workout in, me and you. So she took me in his laundry room. And like, I don't know what y'all laundry rooms was like, but like our laundry rooms, there's no ventilation there. It's hot as soon as you step in.
Yeah.
So for 20 minutes, I'm doing all types of crunches. I'm doing all types of push-ups. And she just like, all right, flip over, push-ups, flip over, crunches, flip over. I'm like, bro.
Whooping your ass.
Where's bro? Bro should be here.
That's all I'm saying. Usually they smoke both y'all. It was you.
Man.
You was taking the one for your battle buddy.
I was so mad with him that day. But it taught me a lot about responsibility.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, I mean, you know, what happened to him?
I want to say he ended up getting kicked out the Army. But I can't confirm because he was active duty. But like as a person, he was a cool person. But like as a soldier, you know, he had a lot of improvement to do. But I don't know if he got kicked out or if he just got out. I think he might have just did like a little 3-year contract and got out. I don't know. But,
yeah, it's always that one. It's always that one. We had one of the girls in my platoon. She peed on herself. They took the whole bunk and brought it down to the CQ.
Oh, that's crazy.
We would have to go up like 2 flights of stairs. So imagine the males. They make the males go all the way up to our bay, pull down this girl bunk.
Sad.
They got the hose.
In
the middle of the CQ, all 4 platoons watching her spray her bed down.
That's crazy.
She was touched though. That was a touch. That was a touch girl.
I mean, maybe she learned her lesson after that.
No, I genuinely don't know how she even signed the contract. Like, I genuinely think her recruiter was just like,
did some shiesty.
Yeah, like she should not have been there. She should have not been there. I don't even think she had any family or like anybody to even contact. So,
oh wow.
But yeah. So my next question is, did you know that you wanted to be a recruiter, or is that kind of something that came when you like progressed during your career?
I'm not gonna say I always because that's not the story. I had got opportunities to be like a recruiting assistant, but I never like really took them because I was so focused on school. But I eventually came to a point in my career where I was active duty. You know, I was full time, not 24/7, but like 5 days a week. This is my job.
Well, make sure you, because a lot of people think you act like we active guard.
So I was active duty, so I was what's called active guard reserve. Right. So basically, I'm active duty in the National Guard. Yep, AGR. Yeah. So, you know, I was a AGR human resources sergeant. So basically, pushing paper, you know, making sure people get paid on time, that type of thing. That was my job for about a year and some change. So then, basically, the state, they got to a point where they was like, okay, we got too many AGRs, so we got to start cutting positions. So, my position was identified as one to be cut, and so they was like, hey, we can put you here. You can be administrative NCO for this military police company, but you gotta reclass to military police. So I wasn't too much of a fan of that. I was like, I'm a human resource specialist. This is my job. You know what I'm saying? This is what I signed up to do. I'm not trying to get MP. So then they was like, okay, well, you can either do this or you can find another job. So this job actually kind of found me.
Really?
I had this was 2022, so like during 2022, I would always just talk about the National Guard, like, hey, it changed my life. You know, I was able to, you know, jump off the porch at a young age. You know, yeah. So I had got 3 people to join, and I got credit for it.
I bet you did.
Yeah, I got credit for it. And so they saw my name on the report, and at the time they was kind of hurting for recruiters because they was trying to expand, you know, how many recruiters were in the state. So this dude, he came, the battalion commander for the recruiting battalion, he came to my office one day. He came from Lansing, Michigan to Taylor, Michigan.
Wow.
Hour and a half drive. And he was like, he came to my office. He was like, hey, are you Sergeant Howard? I was like, yes, sir. You know, I'm Sergeant Howard. You need anything? So he was like, well, you know, I heard a lot about you. I saw that you had got 3 people into, you know, to join the National Guard, you know, just because you wanted to. I was like, yes, sir. You know, I always talk about the National Guard. So he was like, well, you know, I also heard about your situation, and you know, you might need to find another job. So I was like, well, yeah, sir, you know, that's a thing. So he was like, well, do you want to be a recruiter for me? And I was like, well, I'd be open to the idea, but I'm only willing to recruit in Detroit, Michigan. So he was like, deal. Stuck his hand out. I shook his hand. And
it's been
a month and a half later, I found myself back here in the city at the Light Guard Armory recruiting, and that was 2 years ago. So
why did you insist, like, it gotta be in the city. I ain't going nowhere else.
I love my city. I love my city to death. So, or should I say to life? But
Yeah.
love my city to life. So, if I was going to be, recruiting people, I wanted to recruit people who I could relate to, people who might have been in a similar situation as me, and kind of help them improve their lives. So
Yeah.
That's what made me get up and do this job every day, change people's lives.
And it's crazy. Like, a lot of people really don't know about. Like, I only was aware of the Army, of just like, I didn't know. Active duty. I always just knew, like, you staying away from your family for a long time. You're never gonna see your family. You fighting, we shooting, we killing, we not coming home. Like, I might die. But it's just so much to it, and I think people really don't understand. Like, there's a job for everything.
Absolutely.
Like, everything. Like, what is it? Water? Like, what was one of the jobs?
You got a water treatment specialist, so they pretty much cleansing
the
water and things like that.
Literally a job for everything. So yeah. So what was the most drastic thing you had to do to recruit somebody?
Most drastic thing. I've never really had to do nothing like too insane, like, because like in recruiting, there's like a very thin line. Like, a lot of stuff is okay, but then certain things is not okay. So like forging a parent's signature or something, that's a complete no-no. Like,
Has somebody tried to do that?
I'm not saying somebody has. I'm not saying somebody hasn't. I just know they said, look, you forge your parent's signature, that's your job, that's probably your career.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So like drastic, I've never really had to do anything like horribly drastic. I mean, let me think. No. Like, I literally, I tell people my story. I'm like, hey, I joined the National Guard here. It helped me get this, and that. It helped me become a homeowner. It changed my life. And so I'm like, okay, well, what are you trying to do? Find, whatever it is they're trying to do. They go, whether it's college, getting trade, maybe even just getting health insurance.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, we can do this for you. Put it in front of their face, and then, hey, you shake my hand. We about to go on this journey, and hopefully, I can get whatever it is for you, and that's it.
Yeah. I like that. You got to be one of the good ones then, because they say the best way to like sell something or like encourage somebody to do something is hearing their story and fitting what they need, like hearing what they need and then applying that.
Absolutely.
Like, so I think that's really good.
My thing for this job, like, the Michigan Army National Guard truly changed my life. Like, it took me from joyride in Wyoming to being a homeowner, satisfying career, fulfilling career, lucrative career. And so I love this job because I can help change people's lives, and I can help improve the organization that gave me a chance. So
right.
I love this job.
Yeah. No, that's good. How often do people ghost you in the midst of trying to join? It sounds like you got a really good crowd though. Like,
nah, I mean, society is society. So like you got some people, they like, okay, I'm gonna do this, so I understand it's gonna be hard, let's do it though. And they walk that road. So a lot of people, they say, okay, well, let me do it. They take the test, and then they either give up because they can't pass the test, or some people don't even get to the test. They just stop texting me out of nowhere, stop answering my calls, which that's cool too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just want people to be upfront. Like, hey, I always tell people, I'll tell people first appointment, hey, if you sign these papers and then you change your mind, just call me and say, hey, sorry, Howard, this ain't for me. And some people just don't do that, but it's okay because the people who do, their lives change forever.
Yeah.
In a good way. So
yeah.
That's that.
What's the crazy excuse that you've gotten on why they couldn't join? Because I know a lot of people like chicken out, but they got this excuse that they want to give that makes it so better.
Let me see. Crazy excuse. I like, this job has actually been pretty tame for me. I get a lot of people, they're like, oh, my parents don't want me to join. I be telling people, I'm like, look, if my mama, she didn't want me to join.
Right.
If I listened to my mama, I'd still be messed up on J-Road right now. Working at McDonald's, which ain't nothing wrong with that, but this is
it's more to life. Yeah,
absolutely,
it's more to life.
But a lot of people, it's like parents, or it's a lot of, that's really it. A lot of people, they think it's war and death, or boot camp is too hard, or it's just little small excuses, because it's like, whether you male, female, young, old, you can do this. You just gotta put your mind to it.
Yeah. And a lot of people just need to educate themselves.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't realize how dumb I sound, like, when I used to just be like, yeah, I don't want to die. I'm not trying to die. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Right. Girl, no.
You work in offices.
Like, literally, in the air conditioning.
Right.
Like, be for real. So, I just wanted you to basically explain RSP. So we basically went through like, okay, you go in, you sign papers or whatever, you go through MEPS. Just briefly explain RSP because when I joined, it was around COVID year, so I didn't really have a RSP.
Gotcha.
My RSP was go online, do a training online, submit the certificate, and I'm good. So just briefly touch on like RSP and what that looks like for soldiers.
So the recruit sustainment program, every state they have their RSP department that kind of runs and administers their RSP program. When I first came in, it was kind of like, and this is always how it is. It's like your intro to the National Guard. So it's 1 week in a month. So Saturday and a Sunday, you come in, you pretty much work out. You know, you get briefings and pieces of instruction about what you're gonna learn in basic combat training, that type of deal. So first aid, marksmanship, you know. How to do physical security and things like that. So you do that from like 7 to 5. Most places I would like to say do that in that time frame. And then Saturday and Sunday, that's over with. You go back to your regular job. So sometimes they do it overnight. I mean, I want to say most places probably do it overnight, but some places don't just because of certain restrictions or whatever it's may be.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've done to a soldier or seen a soldier go through during RSP?
I never forget my guy. I went to high school with him. He actually joined a little bit before me. He went to basic training and everything because he did like the little summer basic training in the summer, then came back to school.
Okay.
So this dude just could not get his life together. I'm talking about every RSP he tripping. And so, like...
Tripping how? Like, you gotta give me some more than that. Like, I'm thinking you saying he ain't showing up. What he was doing?
Like, bro just, like, he either out of formation or...
Just doing shit.
Just yapping in class or, like, just blatant disrespect to, the leadership. And it's like, man, like, bro, you been in basic training. You should be...
Already tightened up.
So, like, every drill, like, they making this dude do push-ups. They making him, do flutter kicks or, crunches or something on the floor or running back and forth while we in class or doing instruction. We just seeing dogs just run back and forth up the court, and it's like, man, like, bro, you just come on, man, like, come on.
That shit, ain't you tired of this?
Just lock in. That's it,
bro. God damn, and you already went to basic. You should square away.
You should be straight by.
Okay, so why do you feel the retention rate is so low? Like, why can't the military keep soldiers?
I love hearing this question. I love when people say that retention is poor. I love when people say retention is low. So I can only speak for the Michigan Army National Guard. Right. Be reminded, I'm a recruiting and retention SCO. Soldiers are staying in the Michigan Army National Guard. I think that there is a misconception. I feel like, and I understand that it's a lot of things that the Army can do better. But for like the last 2-3 years, the active Army has hit its retention rates. They've retained the amount of soldiers they said they want to retain. Certain people might not have been retained because they got tired of the conditions, but the Army is hitting its retention goals. The Michigan Army National Guard, specifically the organization I serve in, we're meeting our retention goals. That doesn't mean though that there are not things that we can do better. We can always take care of soldiers better. And then just getting to the root of your question, why aren't soldiers staying in the military?
I always say that retention starts with the first line leader. So retention starts with your sergeant that you report to. So if you feel like your sergeant isn't taking care of you or isn't going to the people to get the things needed to take care of you, whether it's your pay or your education benefits or they're just a dick for lack of better words, you're not going to want to stay in the organization. You're not going to want to give another year, let alone 6, to an organization that you feel don't love you. So I get it. A lot of soldiers do experience poor leadership. So I think that's what it really boils down to. So
I think a lot of these people let rank get to their heads, and they're not. My thing is like with being a good leader, like you said earlier, knowing who you're being a leader to. Like if you don't even care about their personal life or even just not even that, you don't have to be personally involved, but just like, hey, how you doing? You doing okay? If you see that they have like not having a good day or you see that they have a low, like they're not themselves and you don't care to even ask questions like that, why should I go the extra mile to make sure that this mission goes as smooth as possible? That's just how I feel.
No, and that's real because like when I did have soldiers up underneath me, I feel like my soldiers will run through a brick wall for me because I took the time. I asked, is your finances okay?
Right.
Is your school getting paid for? Like you enlisted for? Is just checking on my soldiers. Just because I feel like as an NCO, it's all about being responsible for the training, development, and general health and welfare of soldiers. So,
I like that. Say that again. Say that one more time.
Training, development, and general health and welfare. A lot of people, they got their idea of what an NCO is supposed to be, but I think that if you're not taking care of those 3 areas of your soldiers, if you're not making sure they know their job, if you're not making sure they're going forward in life, whether it's in the military or college or whatever it is that their aspirations are, and you're not making sure that their overall life is good, then you're not doing your job as an NCO.
You're actually doing me a disservice if you ask me.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah,
because how am I going to expect you to be ready to fight? And I say that
Right.
figuratively and literally. How am I going to expect you to want to show up and do your MP duties or show up and do your signal soldier duties if you can't pay your light bill or you going through a divorce and I ain't even checked on you?
Yeah.
And you don't got the resources. So how do I expect you to show up and do your job?
It's too bad a lot of the other senior NCOs don't realize that, or NCOs, leaders, whoever, squad leaders, no matter if you corporal, like, it's just, I wish that was more focused on.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's, like you said, another reason why soldiers don't want to sign another contract. Like, it's just, your sanity is number one.
Absolutely. All day. And I remember
your sanity is number one.
I remember when I first started on AGR, my NCO, he had left his position, went to another position. And I remember we had got cool and everything, and then 2 weeks in, he dropped the bomb on me like, "Hey, I'm leaving, sorry, Specialist Howard." Yeah. And I'm like, "Bro, what you mean? We just got cool." But that assignment just had took so much out of him. And I was like, "Well, you going to Lansing? Ain't you about to be losing money, Sergeant?" Because basic allowance for housing, money change.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Look, my sanity is priceless." And when I became a recruiter, I understood exactly what he meant. Because this being a recruiter definitely takes a lot out of you. So.
That's how I feel. My sanity is, if it's starting to, I see the decline. No. Okay, so what are the challenges, in your opinion, in the military while being black?
So being black in the army, or military.
Yeah, I should say army. I keep saying military.
I think it's.
But I just generalized it just because I feel like I'm sure somebody else could speak to what you have to say too.
So I feel like I've never experienced like any direct, explicit racism in the military, but I have seen like first off bat you're being prejudged. Like you gotta prove yourself, and then we can get to business. And I became an NCO when I was 19 years old. So hold
on. Say it again. That's right. Yeah. Hey.
It's cool, but
no, that's a big deal because a lot of people like, bro. I literally met. I mean, it's National Guard. I understand like it's certain slots or whatever, but I met somebody and they in my unit and they've been in damn near 19 years and it's still either E5 or a specialist and don't give a fuck to move up.
Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah, but anyway.
I was always about that bag, but
yeah.
But no, like I became an NCO when I was 19 years old. So you got these, and nothing against them, but you got these, seasoned soldiers. A lot of them, majority were Caucasian, and they see this young dude, this young buck sergeant E5 come here, and they like, what do this dude know? So as soon as I open my mouth up, I gotta be on point. I can't afford to make a mistake. I can't afford to fuck up, for lack of better words. And so it's just like there's always been that pressure there. But what I can say is, once you get used to it, you kind of just operate. You kind of know like as soon as I walk in this room, I gotta be impressive. I gotta be magnificent. Yeah. Just for them to listen. But one thing I can say is like once you do prove yourself, which you shouldn't have to do, but once you do prove yourself, you get that respect. But it's definitely like I wouldn't say prejudice, but there's definitely like those what's the word I'm looking for? Ooh, drawing a blank. But it's definitely like those little instances here and there of microaggressions. Microaggressions. Like,
and you definitely, it's crazy you say that because even outside of the uniform, like I was talking to somebody at my job and she's like, being black and as a female, you got to give 150% regardless. 100% is not enough. If you're doing 100%, that's the bare minimum. Like, the actual bare minimum. Like, you need to be doing 150% all the time. If not, you can't give them no room, no air, nothing. Because you already a female. And in this uniform, being a female, you really gotta. So it's, as a male and you black, like, you got a little something, but you also still gotta work hard too.
Yeah.
You know? So, I applaud you for that though. I applaud you for being like you still in your first contract and you already E6. That's not common, you know? Do you feel it is a men's sport, the military or the army? Do you feel like it's a men's sport and is it difficult to rank up as a female?
I will say that the military obviously is predominantly male, but I gotta say, like, my best NCO I've ever experienced was a female. So I think that I definitely think there's a place for, you know, females in the military. Like, that's never been an issue for me, you know. And like I said, my best leadership came from a female NCO. Shout out to our first class Candela. Gotta shout her out. But definitely, you know, there's definitely a place for females. I think ranking up is kind of a matter of, I'm not ignorant to the fact that some people are a little bit sexist. You know what I'm saying? And sexism is everywhere. That's not just the National Guard.
Exactly.
But sexism is everywhere. Some people feel like females shouldn't be in the military. But I think, like I said, that female leadership is definitely sometimes better, you know. And I think ranking up is kind of just a matter of personal determination. Whether you're male, female, you know, it's like, hey, am I going to get my DLC done on time? Which y'all don't got to do DLC no more to get BLC. So for my soldiers out there, you don't need DLC no more. Do it, still knock it out for, you know, a couple points, but you can get the BLC without BLC, but as you're going to do your DLC on time. Is you're going to take the time out to, you know, get the college courses or get the courses done or whatever you need to do to get to the next rank. Are you willing to go a little bit above and beyond to get there? So that's my response.
Okay. So, and that's just going to take me to my next question. What do you think about the standards with the ACFT? Well, the fitness test, for those of them that don't know what ACFT is, but what do you think about that with the males and the females? Like, do you think that it could be improved, or do you think that it's kind of like good where it's at?
I think the Army Combat Fitness Test in its current form, I think it's good. I think that when it first rolled out, it was a little bit rough because, you know,
the leg tuck.
I love the leg tuck.
It literally took me I'm gonna say a month to at least get one. Then I was able to do 3, and then when I finally was able to do it, they want to switch to the damn plane. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, like, what the fuck? But
I think in this current form, I think the Army Combat Fitness Test is sufficient. Like, I think that is good. You know, I would say it's a level playing field for the most part. I also think ensuring the readiness of America's soldiers, I think that ensures that too. So the Army is kind of like any other job, like, or any other thing. Like, if you want to get better at it, you gotta do more of it. If you want to deadlift more, you gotta deadlift more. You gotta go to the gym. You gotta work out more. So I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah, I will say, like, joining, I've been more in tune with, like, health and, like, making sure that I am in the gym more than I've ever been before, and, like, making sure that I'm just, like, on my toes, because that test is nothing to play about, but, like, seeing your progression is nothing better than to see that, like, you know.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to ask about that. Do you feel like the ACFT is better than the APFT, which is the previous test that the Army had?
I'll give you a buck. We fought 2 wars taking the APFT. Like, when I first joined the military, it was APFT.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it didn't require any equipment. It was run these do these push-ups, do these sit-ups, run this 2 miles, you done.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're preparing for a different type of war nowadays. You know what I'm saying? We're preparing for large-scale combat operations. So, you know, you might be on foot for a little bit more if we do enter a war. Ain't no wars projected.
We ain't going to war because that's everybody's favorite question. We're
not going to war. But the next war, if there is one, is going to be large-scale combat operations.
Definitely.
So you might be on foot a little bit more.
Yeah.
You might need to sustain more weight on your back. So that Army Combat Fitness Test, keyword in there, combat, is definitely preparing you for that. You know, if necessary.
Okay.
Once again, we ain't going to no wars right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. What do you since you did bring that up, like, have you ever deployed?
I unfortunately have never deployed.
Okay.
Every time I've been in a unit, that unit has just never been called.
Okay.
A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people, they give me a little bit of crap. They're like, oh, you a slick sleeve staff sergeant. Ain't nobody,
They always
like,
got something to say.
I'm saying, but it's
you
like,
bitch.
Bro, I'm trying to deploy, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if that unit, no unit I've been in hasn't just never got that call. I'm not ducking. I go all
So you
day.
ain't ducking no smoke
I go to Iraq. I go to Ukraine. But
I'm ducking. Don't come looking for me. Cause I ain't going. No, I'm just playing. But if you had a choice of where you would like to deploy, what would it be?
Iraq?
Yeah. And it don't even gotta be nothing in a combat zone. Just you wouldn't want to go nowhere like Poland or Hawaii or like it'd be Iraq. You just want to do the damage.
I'm trying to be. You said
do the damage.
I'm not do no damage. Like I said, I'm a human resource player. I'm gonna be. But I want to be in that sandbox. You know.
Yeah. They say that. Listen, my unit just got back from deployment, and everybody like that heat is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they be having sandstorms and like. But a lot of people say like once you get used to it, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot out there, and a lot of people like was able to like see things, that you wouldn't see on the day to day. You know, so I wish I would have deployed because I wish I would have saw some of those things because I probably won't buy a ticket to Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I mean everything happened for a reason. So. So like what benefits have you reaped from joining and what advice would you give someone who's interested?
So, as I said before, I initially joined so that I could go to college for free. That's exactly what I did. I went to Wayne State University for a couple semesters. Never saw a tuition bill because the National Guard just had it covered. So all I had to worry about was, studying, getting my grades, and that was it. So.
And also, make sure you tell them they paid you to go to school and paid for the school.
Yeah, so yeah.
Like, I don't think people get that.
Yeah, I was getting what's called the GI Bill. So
right.
for the National Guard, it's some money they give you. Right now, it's about a little bit under $500.
Yeah.
But they give you that on top of your check that you get from doing your 2 days a month.
Yeah.
And then if you get a certain score on the ASVAB, you also get what's called a kicker. So that was like, at the time, I was getting probably like $1,000 just for 2 days a month, just to go to school. So, I mean, like she said, I was getting paid to...
Not including your FTA, your mean step, like...
So all that get put on there, then I get that little, my scholarships that I had, my Pell Grant, that's not going to college. So guess what?
It's
that's
going
a
to
refund.
me. It's going to me.
A refund. So that's
I ain't gonna lie, like, your fast for all of that, like, you really can get some money out of that.
For
like,
real, yeah.
People don't take advantage of that.
Going to school, that's how you
yeah.
make that bread for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also, took advantage of the Veterans Administration home loan. I think that VA home loan is a cheat code. For those who don't know, it's basically, there are certain service requirements you got to meet. Like I think it's 90 consecutive days on active duty, or 6 years in the National Guard, 6 years in the National Guard or Reserve. But you meet them requirements, okay? As long as you got the income, as long as your credit score good, bank give you however much you qualify for, and you don't have to put no money down. And I feel like especially as African Americans, there's that racial wealth gap.
Definitely.
A lot of us we could definitely use that home loan, to build that wealth, pass on some wealth to the next generation. So that's
and
probably
a lot of people have never they don't even know what buying a home looks like, or they'll be the first generation to buy a home. Yeah. So definitely, yeah.
Definitely a cheat code.
It's a lot that people really don't look into. But it's a lot of things that if you don't ask, you won't know. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just moving about, and that's another thing I don't like about the Army. It's like I didn't know anything about like the vet tech program where they were paying me for a course to take for certifications for CompTIA.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want CompTIA certs, especially if you want IT, but imagine just getting paid $1,000 to sit in front of your computer for 4 hours.
Yeah,
every 5 days a week.
That's cool.
Like,
cause I've been thinking about getting that CompTIA. I just just another
just
little
to
tool
have
in the
it,
pocket.
yeah, for sure. Cause with you being behind that computer and having a security plus, you are eligible to get in rooms, or having a SIPRA token, you're eligible to get in rooms that other people can't get in, just because you have that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what is your biggest challenge as a recruiter? You would say? You got a lot of.
Yeah. So, America is in a recruiting crisis currently.
Okay.
Like when I became a recruiter, we was like in the height of it. Like
Yeah.
it was just we was sucking at recruiting people into the military. It's gotten better over the last 2 years, but we still having those struggles.
Okay.
And like I think they said what 23%, only 23% of Americans like qualify for military service. So that pool is already small.
Slim to none.
So now you got people, you know, do you want to join the military? I think they said only 9% of Americans 18 to 24 have thought about military service. That's 9%. So now we taking 9% of that 23% that's eligible. You got a real small pool of people to recruit from. So I think it's just that eligibility pool kind of, you know, trying to recruit from it. And then you got I'm an Army National Guard recruiter. You got the active duty recruiter up the street. He trying to get the same people.
Right.
You got the Navy recruiter trying to get the same people.
Yeah.
And so then each branch nowadays they kind of loosen up their standards a little bit. Like for the Army, we have this course called the Future Soldier Preparatory Course. Basically, like if you're struggling with your weight in a certain within reason, we'll send you to this camp, get your weight in order, then you can go to basic training. Or if you're struggling with that ASVAB, trying to pass that test, within reason, like I said, I think you need like between a 21 and a 30. If you get that score, we'll send you to this camp, you study up, take the test again, finally pass, and then we get you in basic training, now you're a soldier. So the branches have taken steps, especially the Army. We've taken steps to kind of widen that eligibility pool, but I think they can loosen up a little bit more.
I was gonna say, because like we were talking about this earlier, a lot of back in the day it was like an option, like you would get court ordered to join the military. Like you either go join the military or you going to jail.
Yeah.
Do you think that if they bring that back, we would probably have a better chance of making the numbers go up, or you think not really?
I think it could increase the numbers a little bit. It would help a little bit, but I always say like this recruiting crisis is so complex. There's no one thing
that
like some people.
It.
Yeah, some people be like, "Oh, America, the military's getting woke, so that's why people don't want to join." The military being woke per se, like that's not.
That comes with the generations. You know what I'm saying? Every generation is going to open their eyes to newer things or try to finagle their way out of certain things. And,
that's not the.
I hate hearing the new Army shit. That shit pisses me off so bad. Like, shut up.
Like, at the end of the day, if a war happens, we gonna be.
We all gotta
be ready. We got the toughest military in the world. We gonna handle business. That's that.
They want you to sneak your soldier in the bathroom and whoop his ass with a sock in a fucking soap bar in a sock because he made y'all get smoked. Like,
exactly. Nobody doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just so many. It's so many complex issues with this recruiting crisis that there's no one size fits all solution. Yeah. It's just so complex.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a lot, and then people. Everybody got their own situations.
Yeah,
so it's just,
absolutely.
So how do the numbers go as far as recruiting? Like, what is the specific? Dang, I can't think of the word. The quota, or what is it? What's the number that you have to hit in order to complete your job or the mission as a recruiter?
I would like to say that at least I want to say every recruiter at least has to get one a month, so about 12 people a year.
Okay.
Depending on what area you're in, so maybe if you're in a larger city area, you might have to get 14. So like myself, I have to get 14. If you're like in a smaller area, that might vary. You might have to just get 10 a year or whatever the case may be. But it just varies on just different factors. Okay. But I wouldn't say on average at least 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the have you ever, I guess I know that there's a lot of waivers for people to join, like ages and medical waivers and things like that. Is there any waivers for convicted felons?
So yes, you can get into, and I can only speak for the Army National Guard. I don't know what every other branch, I don't know what the active duty Army do, but for the Army National Guard, you can get into the National Guard with a felony. However, it also depends on was it non-violent, what have you done since then to improve your life.
So what is your take on weed being legal, and like, do you think that if maybe if it was legal federally, that maybe we would have a little bit more soldiers in, if that makes sense? Because it is legal in the state, but not federally.
So I know it's been a lot of legislation coming about where it's talking about making it federally legal. I think if they make it federally legal, I think that would kind of cause the branches to say, okay, well, coming in, it's okay to test positive. Because, like, right now, if you test positive for weed at MEPS, then you disqualified, and, you know, that's that, you know.
Really?
Yeah, so you disqualified for, like, 6 months.
Okay.
Or 3 months. It just depends on
Okay.
my branch. But, like, I think they should say, hey, coming in, you use society. You know what I'm saying? Weed is legal in Michigan or California or whatever
Right.
state it is. So of course, you know, you might be a little hot. But now once you're coming in, okay, cool. Now, okay, it's time to adhere to those standards. Now you know
Right.
you know you might have a drug test coming up or whatever the case may be. But I think if they just, like I said, if they make it cool for you to test positive coming in, but once you in, then you gotta stop. I think that might help a little bit. It's not gonna, like I said, it ain't gonna solve the whole situation, but it will be one of those things, like I said, to kind of expand that pool of eligible applicants.
I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good way because me personally, like I did smoke weed before I joined, and I had to take at-home drug tests before I could go to MEPS because I didn't want to be disqualified or I didn't want to have to wait an extra whatever months.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that when you come in, you don't know the standards anyway, unless you did JROTC or you have somebody in the military. So I think that coming in, you should be a civilian, and then just like when you learn about the rankings and the Army standards and the Army values or whatever, that's when you become a soldier. That's when you should be able to. All right, now I can't smoke no more.
Yep.
But I think definitely they need to have some leeway too. What do you think about haircuts and hair in general as a male? Because you guys are very limited on your hairstyles. So what do you think about that?
I mean, honestly, I've never had a problem with the hair standards, but I also always had 360 waves. What I will say is that every time I go into a classroom, it never fails. I get the question, do I gotta cut my hair? Yes, you gotta cut your hair.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I always say you gotta sacrifice something to get what you want sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And that's whether it's going to college, whether it's getting a job, and being here in the military. You can't have, the twist, dreads.
But why? Because you know what I think that does? I think it goes back to the black. It goes back to that because you don't see Caucasian people walking around with dreadlocks or braids or twists. Now, don't get me wrong. I am aware of the fact that we wear ACHs or helmets, and I'm aware that you have to be able to put your hair up because we are around a lot of machinery that you may get caught in. But I don't think that you have to cut it off. Like I think it should be to a certain length, just like we can wear ponytails to our shoulder blades. I think that you should be able to wear dreadlocks to a certain length. Just because I don't feel like it's really necessary to cut them off, in my opinion. That's just like saying when you join corporate America, you got to cut your dreads. A lot of people do that just because they're so like, oh my God, like the black, they gonna think I'm ghetto, You know what I'm saying? And I just think that we're making it okay. Like I don't want to say making it, but we're enabling that because of on the corporate side, military, we can't do nothing about it, but.
Yeah, definitely on the corporate side, I don't really feel like, I feel like, look, you should let your work talk to you. With the military, it's just one of those organizations. There are standards, rules in place. It's kind of like you conform to it. I had waves my whole life basically, so I didn't really have an issue with it. I've had people, come and say, okay, I would join, but my dreads or,
But
I'm just
really
like,
that important.
That's what I always say. And I've kind of softened up to it a little bit more. But at this point, like I said from jump, I'm about business. I'm like, look, if you think that this is something that's important, if you think that this could be a way to pay for college, this is a way to get a trade, this is a way to, kind of just lay the foundation for your life, cut your hair off for 6 years or 3 years, however long you decide to serve, and then cool, 2025, 2028, you can have a free degree and have dreads. You can get out the military, grow your dreads back. Now you got a degree, now you got a house, now you got a career, your family taken care of. Let's go about our business. But that's kind of my stance on that.
Yeah. So what do you think about the sexual assault that is going around or has been an issue in the military? Like, what is your take on that? And do you think that the military is doing its due diligence to lower the numbers of sexual assault and sexual harassment?
Yeah, so I always say the military reflects society. And unfortunately, in society, sexual assault takes place. And I would actually say that the military does a better job in society at
I think
addressing
so too.
because we
I'll say they preach better.
yes.
They make it they make you aware of it better. I want to just make sure I clarify that because it's a reason why.
No, for sure, and definitely different stances. Like I'm not a woman, so I don't understand for you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we have these programs in place. Every year, soldiers got to get a briefing like, hey, this is what not to do. This is what might make somebody feel uncomfortable in the workplace. And I think that we definitely have a lot of stuff in place to prevent it. But like I said, the military reflects society, so unfortunately, you do have these things that happen. But I think in the military, it happens at a lower rate than just general society, I would say.
Okay, I like that answer. I think that's true. But what about those senior NCOs that are I'm not saying victim, but are a aggressor in sexual assault or sexual harassment, and how their punishment gets like
swept under the rug.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for the whole United States Army. I can't speak for the Michigan Army National Guard. I've seen people get cooked. I've seen people lose their careers. I've seen people go to prison for sexual assault. Yeah.
Can you give me a story? You don't have to say the name. I'm just curious.
I'm not at liberty to discuss that. But what I will say in general is somebody in a former unit that I was at, they got caught doing some bad things, and they got that punishment. They sitting in the cell right now. So, and that's like I said, that's only one thing I can pinpoint.
How long was that process though? Because it's very lengthy, So I'm curious to know, like, do you know how long that process was, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long that process was.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
I think in the Michigan Army National Guard, I think as an organization, and I feel like I want to say most National Guards because we are a state-based organization. We're a community-based organization. So when it comes to something like that, it's like, well, shoot, we know Sergeant Major so-and-so or Captain so-and-so. We need to get bro cooked, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't want this to keep happening to soldiers over and over and over again. So I think because we're such a tight-knit organization, I think that we take, compared to like the regular Army or the Army Reserve, we might do a little bit more due diligence when it comes to that. So I can only speak for the Michigan Army National Guard in that aspect.
Okay. I just think it sucks for
absolutely.
I mean, it happens everywhere. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, the military they can get away with it.
Yeah,
they can get away with it anywhere. But it's, to me,
it doesn't make sense
more
that somebody that you trust to have your back would do something like that.
Yeah.
And I like in a combat zone or whatever the case may be.
Or even being protected by their senior NCO partners, or they would never do that, or literally watch them do it, or been in the same area, you know what I'm saying? And just protecting them, or in other words, vouching for them if you ask me. Like, I just think a lot of senior NCOs get away with a lot of things, whether it be sexual harassment, sexual assault, what is it? Sexism, like whatever the case may be, pulling rank or putting somebody before somebody so they don't get this promotion, they don't get this award. Like, it's just a lot of that, and that's something that I really dislike about the Army.
I get you,
So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
I understand.
Sorry.
Sure. No, you
My little rant.
Oh, it's real because I just genuinely think like everybody should get the same shot. You know what I'm saying? The same shot to get a promotion or to advance their career, and you shouldn't have to worry about coming to work and getting touched inappropriately or getting addressed inappropriately. Like this is just not that,
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are used to, like you said, society. When they at home, they play with their peers or whoever away and think that they can come in uniform and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, like when I first joined, I was like, these motherfuckers weird as hell. Like, they weird as fuck. Like, they really are weird as fuck. But like, I just think people really gotta understand that you're not at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not at home.
Yep.
Act like you got some sense. Would you say that in a corporate America?
Exactly.
No, you wouldn't. So get it together. But yeah. But it was a pleasure having you on the show. I'm so happy you came. I think this was really good, and I think a lot of people needed to hear this because a lot of people are not educated in the military, let alone the Army. So I'm just glad
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for having me.
You did so good. Thank you guys for watching. Where can they follow you at? And like anybody that wants to join or anything like that, where can they contact you at?
So my Instagram is SSG Howard MI. So you just type in SSG Howard MI, should pop up on Instagram. I also got a pretty decent sized TikTok.
I saw that. You got your TikTok be slapping. I ain't gonna lie.
It's high,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. SSG Howard MI. So if you want to laugh or just get some more information, feel free to follow me on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, what's one thing? Before we go, what's one thing that you want to leave with people when they think about the Army? Like, you could just leave them with one thing.
I always say just do your research, whether you decide to join the Army, the Navy, Marine Corps, whatever the case may be. This is by far, I feel like, the best means to advance yourself in American society. It will pay for you. It will pay for college. It will pay for a trade. It will give you valuable work experience. And it's not always combat. I've never been in a combat situation. If I ever got shot at, it's because I lived in Detroit. that's my joke. But the Army is what you make it. So if you want to come in and do some chill work in the office, we got jobs for that. If you want to get your hands dirty, if you want to work on cars, mechanic, whatever the case may be, we got a job for that. So just expand your horizons, keep open mind, and do that research. And this will be a path for you.
Period. All right. If you are interested in watching other episodes of Raw Exchange, you can go on our YouTube at Raw Exchange Pod and follow us on Instagram at Raw Exchange Pod and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter. We everywhere. So just stay tuned in, like and subscribe, and thank you. Bye.